So it's currently January, it's about 2 degrees, or has been overnight, and I've just come to my greenhouse to check on my succulents, and I've seen that some of them are wet. So there's been a lot of rain overnight, so I don't know if a leak has got into the greenhouse, and unfortunately some of my succulents have got wet. So I'm going to try a technique to try and save them, because if they have been wet for longer than what I think, if it's longer than just last night, then there's probably some rot setting in, or there's a chance they could rot, especially with the temperatures dropping as low as they have been. So I'm going to show you today how I'm going to try and save them, and we're going to see what happens. So now I've had a better look at the succulents. There's around 20 which have actually got wet, and yeah, I'm just going to do what I can to save them, because they really shouldn't be getting wet this time of year. It has been quite mild for the winter, but typically last night it's dropped to, like I say, 2 degrees, and maybe a little bit less actually. It was 2 when I got up. So but yeah, as you can see, the soil is completely soaked, which is a no-no for this time of year. The succulent loves it. It's soaked up the whole water. It's nice and plump. It looks great, but this can lead to rot, and if the succulents get too cold, because they've got so much water now in the leaves can burst, because the water in there will freeze. So I'm going to remove the soil from the plant. I'm also going to try and be very careful not to get the IDs lost and mixed up. Right, so let's remove this, because any water sitting against these roots at the minute, with, like I say, the temperatures we've got, is a complete, oh, there's a massive stone there, is a complete no-no. So what you can do, it's got a little baby there. I don't know if that's from a leaf prop. Just checking for bugs as well, making sure there's no signs of rot. I can't see anything at the minute, but you never know sometimes. So remove all the soil. This is so heavy, it's so wet. It's really frustrating. It didn't so well this year. I've had a few die, but that is just nature of plant keeping, isn't it? It happens. So yeah, this is one of the ones I found last week. I need to try and save, but I think it's too late. The just zoom in there. The rot you can see is in here. It's all squidgy, and there's a mealy on there as well, which I have sprayed that is dead. Just get the odd random mealy. They won't leave me alone. Yeah, so that is unfortunately another one which has not survived winter, but it did get really burnt last year. So I do find sometimes if they get burnt, they are more susceptible to rotting and just dying later on, which is really strange. But like I say, that's plant life, isn't it? So let's continue to remove the soil. So what you can do is let that completely dry out and keep it probably indoors, somewhere warm, so it doesn't get too cold. But what I might do is just pop some of these leaves off. Hopefully I can do it, keep them intact. And that one's ripped a little bit. Now see if you can propagate them while we're doing it. Winning. It's a bit better. So yeah, that one there, you can see that the growth point of the leaf is intact, whereas that one ripped slightly there. You can see inside the leaf. So yeah, when propagating plants, I do have a video on it. Yeah, just try and remove the leaves with the growth point intact. So might remove one more. Remove this one. And then what we can do to save the plant, or kind of guarantee saving the plant, is to cut away this part. So basically do a head chop in the middle of winter, which is just completely foreign to what I've ever known. What I would do always is sterilise my knife with just my alcohol spray. So sterilise your knife before you do any head chops. And then we're going to literally chop away try and do it without cutting myself. Yeah, just chop that stem away from the head. So, worst case scenario is it reroots and maybe this part rots off. But if not, it might be that you get some new babies growing on this little bit of tiny stem that we've got here. Obviously this plant is very small, so I need to remove this leaf as well. Well, it's difficult when you've half cut the stem. Oh, there we go. So that's the stem. So I'm going to let that dry out completely. I've actually just got here a random little tray. I have no idea what it's for, but it's really handy. So what I'm going to do is let that stem dry out inside. So like I say, do not forget the name. We'll put the label there. And then also let this head dry out as well and keep that inside. So that's what we're going to do to all the plants. And that should, like I say, this should reroot. Probably not now, probably in springtime. And that will then live on as long as there's no rot in there already. And then this hopefully will dry out and can then be repotted. And maybe we'll have some little pups grow on the stem here. So next is one of my absolute favourites. It's really unusual. I've only got it last year. So it's a Purpusorum, but it's a white form of it. And see, we have been getting a little bit of sun here recently. And the blooms are starting to show already on these plants, which is just crazy. But yeah, it's so beautiful, this plant. So I can see that there's a lot of moisture in here. It's really heavy. So again, this one's got wet and I do not want this to die. So we'll just repeat the process. So like I said, this one is actually a lot newer than the other ones. So the roots aren't quite as fully formed on this plant, but I'm still going to do the same thing. There's actually some roots growing up there. I'm just going to chop it. I just don't want any water to have sat in there. I absolutely love this. It's just really unusual. I love the pointy leaves. The structure of them is so pretty. Look underneath as well. The colouring is amazing. So I'll be very peed off if this rots. So let's go ahead and repeat the process. So I've chopped the stem off here. This is what we've got left, and we'll see if that does grow any babies for us. Fingers crossed. I'm just a little bit weary about the kind of the dark marks in there, so I'm going to take a few leaves off if I can. I've never actually propagated this. Oh, that was a terrible attempt, that ripped leaf. Obviously, if you do that, keep it anyway, because you never know, but very unlikely that will propagate. I think I've ripped that one as well. Some plants are really hard to take off a complete leaf. Let's try. Ah, that was a good one. Actually got a little bit of something else there. What is that? I think it's part of the actual stem. Now you can see a bit better now. Yeah, it's part of the stem on the plant. So that might propagate for us. I might just do a couple more. Like I say, I'm just hoping for the best chance of survival. That was a good one. What one would be next? I will go for this one. So it's quite good to hold it and then try and push them sideways. Sometimes they come off really easy, sometimes they don't. It just depends on the plant. So, right, that is that one. But I'm just going to chop it away a little bit more to see if I can just get a really fresh stem rather than those black spots. They just worry me a little bit. This was an imported plant, so it might just be that it's like a little bit of an older plant, but the fresher the stem, the more chance of it rooting. So let's just do a little bit more. There we go. Right, I'm happy with that. So hopefully this beauty will reroot as well. Like I say, keep them in warm conditions, so these are going to come inside, probably on a windowsill or under some grow lights. Yeah, I hope this survives. Number 2. I'm not going to bore you with all of them. I can see that one of them's actually dying already, so it makes me wonder if it wasn't last night's rain and it's actually been sat there for a little while like it. This one, Looks very pretty. Look at the lovely colours, but these colours are just a sign that something's not right. So these outside leaves are looking very strange and like crispy but wrinkly. They're not falling off that easily, but I'm convinced this one has got rot in it. So let's have a look. What can we do? If I chop one of the heads, because luckily, obviously, like this plant has got 4 heads, so we might get some kind of success, but best just to strip it back. And obviously with these stems on here, they're a lot longer, so it would take water and rot a lot longer to get up to the heads of the plants, but I think there's something going on here. So these ones are, like I say, I don't know, just there's nothing in them, but they're not squishy. Are they squishy? No, they're quite firm, but that just looks suspicious to me. I don't know if I'm just paranoid. Well, they're falling off quite easy. That's another sign really that rot is in there, because they just fall off. So I'm going to cut this one. Excuse me, cut this one here. So there is a little bit of darkness in there, but these leaves are just, they are quite transparent actually up here. So maybe the rot, yeah, like it's just, oh, there's a black bit. So I sound excited then, but I'm not excited at all. That means that rot has got into this head. So let's try and cut a bit more off. I think it's falling apart in my hand actually. I think it's probably too late for this one, but yeah, it's just literally falling apart. But we'll see. We will put that aside. So that's one of the heads. Put that over there. I've had this with other plants before, and you've got some heads that survive, some don't. So it's just always worth trying. It's a little tiny pup. I'll take that one. That looks like it's not affected at all. That should reroot in the springtime. This one got black there, which is not a good sign. That just pulled off very easily. Again, they're just basically falling off. Oh God, yeah, that's not a happy plant. But oh, wrong way. Knife's the wrong way around. Let's chop the head off this one. Keep another one. And last one. I'm not going to keep these leaves because they're just so, I don't know, no life to them. Alright, so that's the foreheads chopped, and I'm just going to let this root ball, is it called, dry out. Oh, let's get the little baby. That must be from the, what about that baby I pulled off at the start? That's from the iceberg succulent. How am I going to get this out? It's really rooted in here well. God, there we go. So yeah, that's all soaking wet. So annoying. So we'll remove the soil. And dry it out, and we'll see what happens. So that was number 3. I'll carry on, and I'll just put you on a time lapse. So that's some of them done. I've got loads to do, but I'm not gonna record them all on today's video because it'll be here, or will be here forever. So I've got the iceberg here. So what I've done is I've kept the leaves at the back. on this one in particular anyway. Iceberg here, and then the root ball with a little bit of the stem here, and I've just done that for all the other ones. Some randomly missed out a line there, so that's fine. I'll use that in a minute. And then done the same, I've got a Van Keppel here, which is a really cute chunky one. This one I've never been able to plump up. It seems to always be thirsty. I could never give it enough water, and then randomly it's now looking really happy. So I've taken loads of leaves off, so hopefully I can leaf prop that one. Same with this one. I've got the stems and leaves. And then Shakira, which is one of my ones which got quite damaged last year. I think it had some mildew, so it's got some scarring on the leaves here, which has finally grown out. But yeah, the poor little thing now obviously got soaked, so I've taken lots of leaves off that one. And this is quite a rare one, so I'm hoping that survives. It does look a little bit battered at the minute. Normally it looks a lot more pretty than this, but yeah, let's hope that survives as well. And like I said, I'm just going to repeat the process on all the other ones. And yeah, I'm going to do a part 2 on this video and show you the outcome. Yeah, I've got loads and loads to do now, so I'm going to carry on. I'm quite annoyed that this Mexican giant is part of this group, because this one is, I don't know why, but I could just always find that these ones rot. I don't know if there's part Lowy in here. Me and Lowies aren't the best of friends. I did grow quite a few from seed, so you know, I'm not done too badly, but this one is yeah, part Lowy, and just always seems to rot. So this one looks really lovely and plump at the minute, but like I say, it's best to be safe and get them out of the soil and see what we can do. So I'm going to do the same with this one, and then I will finish the video and we'll check in next time for a part 2. So let's just take this one out. Oh my goodness, that one flew out of there. Poor little thing. Oh, I hate it when they get dirty. So pretty. I've actually got this little blowy machine which I use a lot, which is brilliant. I'll tag it below actually and put it in the description. But so good at getting water off plants and getting muck off them. I use it all the time. I love it. So yeah, I'll link it below. This one's not actually too damp, which is brilliant. And like I say, this one seems to be allergic to water sometimes. But let's get the soil off just to be sure. Can I leaf prop this? There's hardly any leaves on there, so I think I'm just gonna head chop it instead. And it's just not right. How am I going to do this? So hard when the plants are so small. I might actually take that leaf off. There we go. We've got one. A bit of dirt there. I thought it was a mealie. Alright, let's chop. Obviously with plants with farina like this one, it's so hard to not rub it off. Like I've rubbed it off there, but there's not really a lot you can do sometimes when you're trying to save it. Oh, I chopped into that leaf. Aggressive. That, oh, does seem like a lot of water in there. Unless that's all come from the leaf. Oh god, I'm touching everywhere. I'm going to chop some more off. Right, we'll see what happens with that one. So that's all the soil removed from my plants. The head chop's done, the leaf prop's done, and I'm just going to cross my fingers, take them inside and get them to dry out, and just hope and hope and hope that they survive. So I will do a part 2 of this video, so please subscribe to check that out. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, or if you've got any questions, please leave a comment. So I'm covered in soil, I'm freezing cold, and yeah, I'm going to go in and warm up and have a nice cup of tea. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.